everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down, do a video for you guys and girls. I thought, well, let's get one more live in for today. I had a bunch of people ask me during my cardio stuff the other day. While I'm doing my cardio vlog, walking in my weight vest, they're like, Jason, what's your take on this whole big boy and Wes Watson beef? And I had to do just a little investigating. It's like, let's talk about stuff of which I really do not care. Again, just the ridiculousness of this whole community sometimes. All right. The whole Wes Watson thing. I had people ask me to look into him, and I looked into him a little bit. It looks like my old bro, Johnny Bravo, has called him out on some stuff. Even Greg did. I really wasn't aware of Wes Watson, and I did a little bit of digging. And again, the guy is, at this point, I thought he was slightly entertaining it when I first checked him out, but then I realized just how ridiculous what he's doing is. I mean, the whole thing is an entire massive cope, really. It's a cope. It's one of these guys who wants to be over the top with the whole alpha thing. And there's a point where you just got to go, guys, just be a man. You don't have to put on that sort of front, man. You know what? You really don't have to, guys. I mean, you can be a strong, masculine male and still be sensitive, right? We can do those things. We don't have to be hyper masculine and silly about it. But, you know, the thing was that then I found out this guy carries around a purse and kind of apparently alluded to that he's armed. And it turns out the guy carries pepper spray. And I'm just, you know, and I'm going to have a completely different view of Big Boy. And I'm not trying to start beef with anyone, guys. I really don't care to do that. But it just seems like with Wes Watson, he's just putting on a big front. And look, I've done my stuff in the past to, you know, some showmanship and other stuff, and put that in the past, right? Because, I mean, it didn't always go over well. That stuff's in the past, but he's putting on kind of a big front, and then pretends to be this hard guy, and he carries pepper spray. I'm thinking, you know, okay, I'm looking at the guy and what he drives, and I'm thinking at minimum a stainless 1911, but pepper spray. I'm like, dude, I carry personally a minimum of Glock 19 when I leave the house. I mean, me personally, I mean, that's just baseline. I don't carry a 45. I do Glock 19. So it's like he's gonna have pepper spray, and I'm like, I'm not sure what sort of weird front that is when just normal, regular guys all carry Glock. Like everyone I know carries a Glock. And they're not even hardcore. You're just talking regular people, my regular bros, you know. Yeah, William, well, that doesn't fly, dude. You're like, I carry my hands. Yeah, that's not going to cut it, dude. Not in a world where everybody's strapped. Where I live, everybody carries. I mean, that's normal. And that's not a crime thing. That's not a hardcore. That's just a regular law-abiding citizen. I don't personally know none of my friends walk around in armed. None of them. That's just reality, right? Every single one of my friends carry a piece. All of them. Every single last one. I can't think of a single exception. So one of my bros' uncles does it. Right, and we make a big deal about it. We kind of like bring it up and kind of just as a funny thing. It's kind of like, oh, okay, dude, you don't carry a gun. All righty then. You know, it's just kind of a funny thing because it's weird. It's weird to us. You know, okay. But it's not about winning, William. It's just about preparedness. But you know, but the thing is the guy's going to pretend to be some hard or tough guy, and he doesn't just carry what the average normal guy does or better. I'm not understanding. And it's like, to me, that's a big front. Like, dude, I'm thinking the guy's got like a gold-plated Desert Eagle or something, or a really nice like pearl handle 1911 with some custom engraving, you know, to go with the Bugatti and stuff, right? Pepper spray, dude. I mean, what? I mean, I don't want to sound like my bro CJ DeMino, but that's kind of bitch made, dude. All right. Okay, then. That's Yeah. Pep, for you a girl? I don't know if somebody's carrying it. I don't know, dude. And then you got this whole beef, and they're fighting with Big Boy over business. Big Boy strikes me as a hard dude. Like I don't think a person really wants beef with Big Boy, anyways, unless I'm misunderstanding. I was my understanding that Big Boy's affiliated, right? And that was my thought. See, I thought Big Boy was affiliated, like affiliated. You guys know that term. Like I thought he ran with bad dudes, that you really don't want to tangle with. So you guys are saying it. So I don't know that, but I mean, if he's beefing with someone who carries around pepper spray and they're having discussions and talking to someone, said, "Oh, you're talking about getting what? They're getting lawyers." Yeah, I mean, well, that's what I'm thinking, dude. I mean, I'm thinking he's affiliated with the hardcore crowd out there. He's in Orange County, right? And I saw the Orange County tattoos, and again, it's called Strength Cartel. I'm thinking like he's got real affiliations, like dangerous people you don't really want to tangle with, right? Yeah, I mean, so but I don't know. I mean, he's over here beefing and talking about hiring lawyers to beef with a guy carrying pepper. I just don't get it. I mean, what a bunch of fake BS, man. A bunch of fake BS. What the hell? Again, fake natties, fake hard people. Man, that's what YouTube fitness has become. I just don't know what else to say, man. This is a third point I look at and go, does like anybody even care? Anybody even care? No. I don't know where you guys get this pegging thing. I'm not even into pegging. I mean, I got my kinks, don't get me wrong, but it's not my thing. Whatever, dude. People get so weird about this. Like, guys, this is 2024. People are pretty open and honest about whatever they're into. Like, it's just not. It's not even an insult. Like, honestly, I would just admit it. Like, honestly, if I was bi or anything else or gay, I would just say it. Like, I wouldn't even be embarrassed about it. But I'm not. I mean, um, yeah. William says, yeah, we all mess up. Maybe it's how you evolve as a man later in life. Yeah, dude. I just But everyone wanted me to chime in on this beef, and I did a little investigation, and these are guys talking about business deals. These aren't hard asses. These guys aren't. I don't know. I was raised different. I'm just saying. I mean, my family are Slavic. My family are Slavic immigrants. I'm just saying, dude. Different upbringing. People. If someone owed him money, he didn't hire a lawyer. He took a pipe wrench to him. I'm just saying, dude, that's just my family. I mean, you right? People of Blaha just took a pipe wrench to a man. Oh, this knocks his teeth out. That'll show it. Yeah, Williams, exactly. Right. Yeah, you were raised in a border town. Yeah. Yeah, that's a different world. Well, I mean, I was thinking these guys it was different than it was, and I look into it, and it's all just nonsense. You have to shake your head at just the fakery of YouTube fitness. I don't know. I guess they're putting on a good little show, though. They put on a good show. No, I really thought Big Boy was like a hard dude. I didn't know, and maybe he is. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it. Like I was kind of like when people ask me, like, well, I don't want to go talk smack on a guy who's got all sorts of gang affiliations. I'm not. You know what I mean? It's not in my best interest. Like I have nothing to gain from it. So having people pissed at me. Yeah, I thought he was, especially with the tattoos, and I saw the Orange County and everything, and I'm like, okay, you know, because I saw that on a tattoo he had at a meet. It's like, all right, so he's about that life. Um, I mean, I live in Houston, so my family are Eastern European immigrants. I mean, it's my last name, so I'm a pretty chill guy, but I mean, so my family are not. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that was a whole thing. You know, it's like this whole front that people are putting on. It's where the guy carries pepper spray, and I'm just like, you don't at least carry, you know, a Glock, a minimum. Like what? Seriously, dude? Like that's just normal. Houston demographics change a lot, right? I don't know. Radish, I'm not going to make any statements as to what would happen with someone confronting me on my cardio. Um, I would just very politely recommend that they not do that. As a gentleman, right? Because I am a gentleman, I would politely ask that people leave me alone and let me do my cardio. Because we are polite gentlemen, are we not? Man has to have a code of honor. They made their money off that. Why would they change now, right? Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is just ridiculous. Yeah. Different generation, man, these kids today. We just keep going. But yeah, I found out. I guess it makes a big deal when Johnny is calling him out because I know Johnny pretty well. Johnny and I back in the day, I should almost reconnect. I need to reconnect with Johnny. Someone will probably link this to him. He's still on my thing. I used to chat with him. I didn't give him my other new number. I used to talk with Johnny Bravo for hours. Like Johnny and I probably had years ago, we probably had, gosh, 30, 40 hours of phone calls years ago. Like we kind of had a good understanding. And then it fell out when I broke up with Brittany. I just stepped away from all that. No, Johnny and I were really cool. We were on a. He used to call me a lot. He'll tell you that. I mean, he did. We used to talk. Um, you know, yeah, Johnny's a good guy. I like John. John's a good guy. Yeah. I guess that's part of the problem, though, right? But you know, here's the thing. John's situation is probably different with that. John's honestly not an ass cow. John's actually a respectable man. Like I would describe him as a gentleman, right? Like myself. Johnny's a gentleman with a code of honor. You know, he's a gentleman with a code of honor, and that's the problem with these other guys. They pretend to be these fake gangsters, but no honor. How are you going to be? How are you going to be a gangster if you don't have a code? You know, I don't know. Different world. You know, John Bravos. Oh, Jason, you're thinner and more muscular. Yeah, well, yeah. Later, that's thumbnail is a screenshot from the leg day last Friday. If you go check the blog, you'll see I got the quad separation going out. You can tell he's respectable. You talk about Johnny. Yeah, no, dude, Johnny's an honorable man. Um, I've had a lot of heart to heart conversations about life with Johnny Bravo back in the day, and you know, again, he's a good dude overall. And again, I would describe Johnny as an honorable man, right? He lives by a code, and that's the defining characteristic of a man of honor. But yeah, I mean that's exactly, man. I mean the guy carries pepper spray. I mean that means you're less dangerous than the average guy I know, because everyone I know is strapped, and I don't even think of them as dangerous men. They're just my bros. That's normal. Like who doesn't carry a piece? Like who walks around without a gun? Like who does that shit? Children? I don't know. Just to each their own. Cookie, do you think someone can run 250 tests in pre-mode being healthy permanently? Yeah. Hey, Cookie. I mean, if you want me to be quite frank, you've donated a lot, Cookie. I pretty much do 200 year round in between blasts. Like that's a normal for years, last couple of years. I don't really go under that. Right? My blood work's pretty decent. I'm about to turn 48 in 2 weeks. I don't know, Wes Watson, or Big Boy can't speak. All right. How did vegan gains drop so much fat so fast? Well, probably a calorie deficit. Bring pepper spray to a gunfighting. No, probably not. Probably wouldn't end well. I mean, that's the problem, guys. I mean, look, I'm all about being strong and having muscle, but they're not going to save you. Stuff pops off. Where I live, I can't have them, and I live. Oh well, you're in primo permanently. Yeah, I do test in primo. I never come off tested primo. That's what it is. If we're going to just be frank, like if you guys just want me to hold nothing back, be 100% honest, not BS you, not troll you, right? Just shoot straight, right? Shoot straight, be straightforward, don't BS you. Like none of this. Natural lifters lifting natural weights naturally, We're natural like Michael Hearn. Oh, dude, I do test it pretty well with a low dose. Yeah. Is Candida good over like his programs? I don't know if the Candida is necessarily. They make it so hard. Oh, Cookie, I live in Texas. We're constitutional carry. Open and concealed, as long as you have a clean enough record, you are free to carry. Do you recommend someone max out their natty gains before taking stuff? Do I personally? Well, there is no max. Do I think, Matt? I'm old school, so let's talk about being old school. This whole video earlier, we were being old school, right? Isn't that what we were talking about? Being old school, having a code, right? We were just talking about that. What was the code when we were coming up? You guys have heard me mention it. You've heard Lowbliner mention it. We're from the same generation. What was the rule when he and I were coming up? We're in our late 40s. You know the rule? If you couldn't bench 300, squat 400, deadlift 500, you had no business doing a cycle. That was the rule. And if you couldn't do those things naturally, and you did a cycle, you got made fun of. Dude, the guys at the gym would clown you. Like you were seen as a cheater, you were seen as taking shortcuts, you were seen as someone not willing to pay their dues. It was a different time. Like that was considered the norm. Like a lot of people were like, what do you mean that should take forever? It's like, well, we didn't think it should take forever. But we had a different viewpoint. Like people trained different. Like people pushed you. We would come to the gym back then. You're talking 25 plus years ago, right? We go into the gym and dudes are having a bench contest. You walk into an iron gym, and all the dudes, like there's 15 dudes having a bench off. And you're going to get thrown in the rotation. They're going to grab you. Come on, man, we're all maxing on our bench today. And that's just how it was. The bodybuilders, the power lifters, everybody, the football players are in there, didn't matter. They grab you, man. If they were benching and you walk in the gym, you're maxing on your bench. You went to the gym, you're going to learn how to squat. You walk into a real gym, the people were like, no, dude, come on, get over here, kid. You're going to squat. None of this skipping leg day. You got to squat rep. Or you come in, people are having contests. You know, it was a different era. Like all the dudes are having a pull-up contest, chin-up contest. You can do the most chin-ups, and that's just the way it was. Cookie Test and Deca, right? And it was the gym bros who hooked me up because they saw me squatting over 400, and the dudes came over and gave it a nod, like, "Yeah, man, you've been training here a lot, pretty hard. You're doing making good gains. I mean, you just sank that, you know, something like whatever for something." And they're like, "What are you running anything yet?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "All right, come on." There's all the older bros, right? The bros, the little clique. And they're like, "Look, Tom is going to go down to Mexico next week and get everybody some stuff." He's like, "Give me $100 or whatever he asked for." And he's like, "I'll go back and I'll get you your first cycle. We're going to hook you up." Okay. So he did, and he brought me back some little amps of Sustanon and a single bottle of Deca and some Clomid for PCT. And that was, you know, that's how it was. The dudes just took you under their wing, and it was just expected. Okay, you squat over 400, you're in the club. No, dude, I'm not that old. People would do. No, dude, I'm only 47, right? So we're talking just after the millennium, like '02 or whatever, 2002-ish, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, they brought me back. My first thing, a guy came back from Mexico and brought me 10 amps of Sustanon and a multi-dose bottle of 200 Deca. It was like a veterinary grade Deca and a bunch of human grade Sustanon amps. You know, it's like you do 1 cc of each for 10 weeks. That was my first go, man. And he brought me a pack of 30 Clomids, and you know, you take them after your last shot, one every day. And I know you're laughing, body guys are laughing, but that's what people did. And that was normal. And if you're really serious, maybe your second one, you kickstarted with some deep bowling. Your body got big. That was back then. That was the size stack. I know, right? They always recommend PCT after death. Yeah. It was usually Cookie. Let me just put it was rough. Going right off at 19 normal to Clomid is not. I wouldn't recommend it. But that's what we did back then. Yeah. Our trend hit hard because we made it all from implants. We used to go down. Everyone used to go to Tractor Supply, and we used to buy the cartridges. We would dissolve them in benzyl alcohol and run them through a coffee filter, and then mix them with oil into a multi-dose bottle. You cook it to sterilize it. Yeah, it hit hard. So we used to buy them at Tractor's. It was like $30 for a 2-gram cartridge with like 2,000 milligrams in the cartridge. So yeah, we used to get the cattle implants, and that's how we made it back in the day. Yeah. The trend hit really hard back then, though. But I mean, you cough up a lung every time. So that's why today, when you hear the kids talking about running 100 milligrams of tren a day, I'm like, what? You would have handled that stuff. Tren is my least favorite. I hate tren. It's horrific. Honestly, a lot of the stuff's really good today, Cookie. Some of the stuff today is just as good as the formula we were getting back then. For a few years back, it was pretty rough. It was really a lot of underdose stuff. There's a lot of good, better stuff out there today. Like it's more competitive, right? You know. So how much could you potentially bench press if you seated shoulder press 350? Dude, if you could seated shoulder press 315, 405 plus, maybe 450 wouldn't be an unreasonable bench. Matt says O'Hearn always talks about growing up in an environment where everyone around him at a young age was strong as hell. That kind of strength is expected. Kids will have, and that's the point, Matt. So it's like when they hear all of us talking, they hear Lowliner and us say that they're these kids that they think that we're kidding. No, dude, if you didn't bench 300 and deadlift 500 before you did a cycle, people called you a pussy. Like if you, it didn't matter. If you're 21 years old, you're expected to lift that. Dude, that's just, and everybody trained like that, even the bodybuilders. Like, it was just a different era. It was a different era. You know, so we all did Widowmaker squats. I mean, that was the thing. Where I lived, it was all about the 20 rep breathing squats. And it's like I quit doing it when I finally got to 315, and I did that natural. Right, I did that before ever doing anything. I did a 20 rep squat with 315. Now, granted, it was my 10 rep max or so, but you rest paused it all the way. Like that's, yeah. Cookie. A lot of trend today is underdose because there's no way you're running a gram, dude. A gram of real trend, you would never sleep. Because I can tell you that the home brew stuff back then, 50 milligrams a day was overwhelming. It was almost intolerable when it was made from the cattle implants. No, dude, you try to take on 300 a week. Like you're sleeping 2 hours a night. I can't handle any trend. I don't use it. I don't touch it. I don't touch it at all. Do you smoke? I don't smoke anything now. Reddish Cookie is a regular who donates a lot and discusses gear in here. He tosses donations, asks gear questions. He's a good guy. William, 4 or 5 natty. All right. The chest is weak. Yeah, Marcinio, you get your chest caught up, man. That's true. Nice to meet you, Cookie. The 4 plates look sexy as hell. Marcinio, are you saying that you have overhead pressed 315 and you only bench 315? That can't be right. What am I missing here? Some people can be strong. No, William, it's if you have muscle, you're going to be strong. Like I try to tell guys that. I went long periods of time without pulling heavy, and you guys have watched me walk in and just rip 600 plus off the floor. Like that charity event. How much you guys didn't see me touch anything over 570 for a year. I walked into a charity event and pulled 625, right? Just build muscle, just build your glutes and hamstrings, and you'll deadlift a lot of weight. That's all you have to do. You just have to have muscle. If you've got muscle, you can move big weight. All right. It also depends on your history. Like I had a 225 squat as a rank novice. Right? Running built my 225 squat. I wasn't a lifter. Like I walked in, I was able to squat 225 my first week. What's an average deficit deadlift? It's going to depend on the person. I've known guys who their 1 inch deficit is just as good as their all out competition max. Some people it's 5 to 10% less. Probably though for average. So let's take the outliers out. Probably for every inch of deficit, you're going to lose 3 to 5%. And that's probably about a good baseline, right? But not always true, because I've also hit 625 on a 2.5 inch deficit before, but I've never pulled over 635 on camera, like raw off the floor. But I'm good at deficit deadlifts. Coach, I'm weather brother to just change your. Okay, cool, dude. I remember. Arsenio, just work on your whole chest, incline dumbbell, regular bench, work out your whole chest. Yeah, dude, he's right. William's right. Marcinio, just hammer your chest, incline work, dumbbell work, build your pecs, deep stretches, reps, right? Build pecs. So if you've got a super strong overhead press, right? You got a super strong overhead press and your chest is lacking on your bench, just build your pecs. And start benching really wide. Start doing really wide benching. Yeah, I still train my neck on shoulder day, right? I usually do neck extensions. Like this week, I did sets of 20 with a 45-pound plate. It's all on camera. Wider is good also. But if he's got weak pecs, he doesn't need to be doing close grip. He needs to get that wide grip up. Because that's going to the other neck curls, because I don't want to get sleep apnea again. I had sleep apnea when I was at a heavier body weight. I don't want it to return. I don't want to risk it. So I only do the extensions just to protect me from whiplash, headaches, things like that. Right. Yep. Is it possible to achieve a 315 bench press naturally? The intelligent depends on the person. How big is your frame and how genetically gifted are you at the bench? Or do you mean for the average person? Do you understand the difference? You said, is it possible? Of course it is. Julius Maddox, world's strongest raw bencher, says that he was bench pressing over 400 pounds the first time he started bench pressing. So he did it without even training. He did it without even lifting weights. He did it from push-ups. He said he did lots of push-ups in prison, and then he started bench pressing, was benching over 400 his first week. So you're asking, is it possible? Yes. Is it possible to make $10 billion? Of course it is. Lots of people have made $10 billion. There's dozens of people who've done it. Is it possible to become president of the United States multiple times? Of course it is. Trump just won it a second time, right? So it's possible. So you may want to rephrase your question, because we already know people have done it. We know people have bench pressed over 400 pounds who didn't even lift weights. And we know there are people who've made $10 billion. Those aren't exactly normal people. A good long pause won't hurt. On squat and deadlift, is it better off to work up to heavy singles or top set of 3 to 4 reps? Depends. That's not a straightforward answer. I think both can work. Dig your shoulders in, arch your back, and tuck your legs. Closer helps. Yeah, that helps. Why is reverse hyper such a polarizing machine? Because it is a polarizing machine. I disagree with Jamie on that. I swear by the reverse hyper. I live and die by it. Were you doing heavy sets of bench and squat followed by pump work when you first started? No, I barely. Matt, you want me to be honest? I don't really fully remember what I did when I first started. If I'm just going to be honest with you, I just don't. I don't even remember the exact year. I know that I bench squatted, did back work. I know I did some cleans. I didn't have a program when I first started, though. It's just my cousin showed me some stuff. And so when I went to the gym, I did some squats and some bench press and some cleans. And I didn't even have a game plan. Then I'd mess with this machine or that and do some rows and some pull-ups, you know. Right? throw around some dumbbells. I didn't know what I was doing when I started. That's basically what I remember of it. If you were to ask me for details, that's the closest I can give you. Coach, I'm a little taller than John Hack. What's the best exercise to do to look like him? I don't know. The best exercise, why don't you just follow a full program and just maximize your size, right? Rather than say, hey, I want to look like this power lifter, why don't you just get big? Come in and just focus on building your body up. Because John Hack's got a ton of muscle. So you just need to get big. That's what you need to do. And if your structure is different, you're not going to look exactly like him. I mean, I would also tell you, I don't know, get your bench press up to 600 pounds and have his frame. But I remember hearing a podcast a while back, a couple of years back, where he had said he was doing tons of shoulder work and less tricep work trying to get his bench up. So he was hitting his delts from about 6 different angles. So, I mean, when he's telling you stuff like that he's doing all this different shoulder work, can you say that one exercise or the program's going to make you look like him? It's like, well, when I was benching 500, I was doing a lot of triceps, and now I'm trying to get further past that. I've been doing tons of shoulder work and working my shoulders from all angles. I thought John was a masked anadrol guy, from what I recall. Am I missing that? Isn't that? I thought he was test masked and he liked anadrol anabar. Was his, but he might have changed it. Keep in mind, Zach, he's also a genetic freak and he's on gear. So context. John's built. Yeah, John isn't. It's different on a different level. Like John Hack makes elite powerlifters look weak. I mean, he's just that strong, even pound per pound. He's one of those guys that guys in the top 1% of powerlifting look at him and just go, what the hell, man? What? He makes the elite feel weak. The best of the best. Kind of like Ed Cohen did, It's different. That's a rare breed. That's not just top 1% anymore. So I forget what the term even grifter even means. I got to relook that up on Urban Dictionary. And that's when my age is showing. I'm like, hold on. I got to go to Urban Dictionary and remember what that word means. Hold on, give me a second, guys. Why is it not working? Person who engages in petty or small scale swindling. All right, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, 600 bench at 200. I'm comical. I mean, yeah, and it's not like he's even short. Normally, when you hear some crazy ratios like that, you're like, oh, this guy's going to be 5'5". He's not. You just have to shake your head at that. Right? I mean, there's no other way to describe John Hack. It's just like, what more can you say? I mean, it's just, he's built different. That guy's got some weird, freakish gene combination. Literally, when he was in the IPF and still said he was natural, everyone thought he was blasting tons of gear because there's no way it's even possible. And then he quits doing that, and then he starts doing gear, and his bench goes up another 100 pounds. His squat goes up 200 pounds, and he goes, okay, now I'm going to use gear. And then it's like, what? But he was already at the point where no one actually believed him that he was not on anything. He's like, okay, all right, I'm done doing natural now. I'm gonna go on some stuff. And then his lifts just you're over here going, dude, you're benching like 500 already at 200 pounds. He goes on the gear for a couple of years and he's benching 600 at like 205 or something. And deadlifts over 900 pounds. You have to just stare at it and go, I don't know. Favorite bodybuilder of all time? That's a toss-up. Reg Park, Frank Zane, somewhere in between that spectrum. Bill Pearl, maybe. But okay, I might have to give a nod to say Bob Paris too. I don't know. I don't know how I want to put it. Yeah, Will, that's not just a genetic lottery because there's plenty of guys who are extremely genetically gifted, who are considered to have won the genetic lottery, who were on drugs, and he was outlifting them natural. And then he goes on gear. And then we watch his lifts go up 2 whole tiers. It's like, it's one thing to win the genetic lottery. It's another thing to just go, he's an aberration. That's not just like 1 in a million, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, some people just have it. They just get that combination of, because it's that combination, because it's not just the physical genes. There's something mentally, there's going to be something neurological, right? It's going to be just some extreme combination of like, okay, he got this bone density and this ultra fast twitch muscle fiber dominance, but then he probably has something different with his nervous system too. And then his mindset, psychologically, he's probably built different. I mean, you just, right? Yeah, his brain is wired differently. So not only the musculature, but his nervous system is just wired differently, completely. But I mean, that's when you see a guy benching 600 and deadlifting 900 at 200 pounds, it's just like, and not even getting hurt. That's the thing. Like you would look at the other stuff and go, okay, he's got those genes, but he's going to rip some stuff. He doesn't. Matt says Bob Paris had an unbelievably pretty. Yeah, I mean, Bob had a phenomenal physique. I mean, all right, so there's a perfect example of, you look at that and go, okay, if we're going to use the term aesthetics in terms of aesthetic lines and structure, you look at someone like Bob Paris and go, I mean, that is probably an ideal. That's like a paragon of that, just exemplifying, right? Again, just a unique genetic structure to give him just perfect symmetry and proportions. Again, that's another genetic lottery, right? Someone like Bob Paris. Because most of us, there's no way I could follow Bob Paris's drug stack, his routine, his diet, and I would never look anywhere near that. Even if he trained me, for 10 years, 15 years, wouldn't look like that. He should be with the classic physique. I would agree with that. He was benching 6 plates towards pec, brother. Who are we talking about? Did John Hack get hurt finally? Chris Ebone, Olivia is pretty good. Yeah. Do you also think mentality plays? Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be some psychological differences. Absolutely. Of course there is. So it's just a strange combination. And he still got a normal 9 to 5 on top of all that, or had one. what? It's like, yeah, because I can't rely on this forever. I'm going to need a normal job to fall back on. So maintain one. Jason, do you work out in your garage mainly? Yeah, for the most part these days. Because I don't want other people to know what I do. So when I've gone to other gyms, it's not something I've put up a whole lot of. So I'm generally in my gym. Because I keep my life pretty private, right? What I do outside of what you guys see on the camera. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty solid at this point. I've built it over quite a few years. Gosh, what is it? 6, 7 years? I've been building that home gym over that time. Coach is increasing the time under tension by slowing down the eccentric portion of it beneficial. I don't know that it really is. I don't know that we can make a case for it. I'm going to say it's personal preference. Do you feel it more? Okay, you can consider it. I don't know that it plays a real role in hypertrophy. Now, for gaining strength, I can't see any reason it would. We could argue about hypertrophy, and then hypertrophy will carry over to strength. I mean, a bigger muscle has a higher strength ceiling, right? Thicker myofibular growth or tissue will always have a higher strength potential. Thoughts on supersets? There's time savers and then conditioning. I mean, I did all supersets today, right? Because I did all that arm work. So because I did a separate arm day. I've been doing arms on my other days too. So I normally do triceps after chest, biceps after back. But I also did a second arm day today, this week, separate. And I just supersetted biceps and triceps. And the same thing for forearms. I did flexors and extensors as a superset. I think it's just time saving. I don't think there's actually any benefits to supersets beyond that. I mean, you get a nice pump, but unless you get a lot more work done, so in my case, because the amount of arm volume I'm doing right now to bring my arms up because of neglected from the powerlifting days, I'm doing so much arm work that it's the only way I can get it all done. And it's still hours. Because of how much people who haven't been following my vlogs, when I say this, they're going to be like, what? When you're doing 40, 50 sets of curls a week to failure, like I'm doing, you got to do some supersets. That's going to be one where people say, wait, did Blaha just say he does that many sets of curls? It's like, yeah, but it's only 3, half of them are bands. Well, not half, I would say, about 15 sets this week were bands. The rest were all barbell curls and preacher curls, right? That's in addition to all my rows. Same thing with triceps. I mean, I did a decent number of income, but I did mostly just regular behind the head extensions, like leg extensions. I think you made, William, it's come along because I've been upping the volume. I'm adding more and more volume while I've been doing all this fasted training. So my arm volume, as of the last couple of weeks, is the highest it's ever been. And this week last week was the most arm volume I've ever done in a week in my life. And I increased it this week. So now it's kind of at a good spot. When I'm doing like 40 sets of curls, William, if I can put an inch on my arms and continue to tighten the waistline up, right? Finish tightening the waistline up, get the abs deeper, get everything tight, that last little bit of fluff tighter, a little bit of loose skin tighter, and add an inch to my arms, I think I'll be in a good spot. I'll be in a pretty good place. So I need to take about 3 more inches off that waistline, put an inch on my arms, and I think I'll have a pretty decent physique at that point. Yeah. Zachary, I find all those high rep band curls I have found seem to do a lot. Zachary quoted arms, my legs are so right. You guys have seen my legs, the legs in the thumbnail. That's a direct unedited screenshot from the blog on last Friday, or actually yesterday, last Friday. Like, that was yesterday, right? What's your current body fat? I'm gonna guess about 12%, right? Maybe 13. I'm estimating, guys. I don't know. I haven't done a DEXA scan lately. I haven't done a DEXA scan in years. The lowest I was on a DEXA was at 17, but I'm leaner now. I'm bigger and leaner than when I got that last DEXA. So I could be as low as 12, maybe. Coach, what are your thoughts on Dorian Yates? Dorian Yates didn't do one set to failure. Let me explain a Dorian Yates set to failure. And this is direct from interviews 20 years ago. All right. Dorian Yates' one set is not what you think of as a set. Dorian Yates only counts sets where he went beyond failure and did forced reps and rest pause and stuff like that. So here's an example that I recall directly from reading in the interview. His warm-up for the barbell rows, his 3 warm-up sets, which don't count towards his one set. He would do 3 sets of 8 with 405 pounds on the barbell row and try to do them strict. I'm going to state that again. Strict barbell rows with 405 on the bar. That's around 185 kilograms if you don't use freedom units. Okay? Right? For strict reps for sets of 8. But because he could get 10 in an all-out set to failure, those sets of 8 were warm-ups. So then on the 4th set, he would try to hit failure and get to 10 reps and then do rest pause and try to squeeze out more reps with 4 or 5 seconds, 6 seconds break between them. And that's one set. That is a Dorian Yates one set. So do you see the problem with that? So he's like, yeah, I do 4 exercises that way for each muscle every week. But his warm-up sets were pro bodybuilder strength to failure weights. If his warm-up sets are heavier than his competition can even lift, and he's calling them warm-ups because if he can do 10 reps as a 10 rep max and hit failure, 8 reps as a warm-up. But it's not. He trained like that. So reality is when you look at his stuff, he was actually doing 15 to 16 sets. But only like 4 of them were to failure, so it's only 4 sets, right? So understand what you were saying when you discussed that. You've got to go back and look at what he said in interviews, what was videoed, what they talked about back in the day. Are you prepared? What do you mean sacrifice some strength, Jeff? I don't need to. See, that's the point, Jeff. I'm doing it slow and careful, and I'm eating 3,500 plus calories every day while I've been losing fat. I don't need to sacrifice any strength to keep getting leaner and leaner and leaner and leaner and leaner. I'm going to gain muscle. That's why I tell all these guys, you're like, why do you cut so slow? Same guys cry about, I lost 50 pounds off my bench press cutting. Your bench didn't go up? You should be gaining muscle year round. There's no reason to ever lose muscle. Why are you cutting so fast that you lose muscle when you could cut slow and gain muscle? Like why are you guys doing this to yourselves? Okay? Why are you doing this to yourselves? I'm going to wind this down here shortly, guys. It's getting real close to Coach's bedtime. I'm going to wind it down. Right. All right, so we're at that time. So I love all of you guys and gals. What do you mean it's 5? It's 7 p.m., dude, where I live. Right? So I hope it's been informative. Love all of you guys and gals, and I will talk to you next time.